Hollywood loves to sell the dream of movie magic, but behind the glossy posters, the sets can be brutal battlegrounds. Stunts go wrong, props malfunction, and sometimes even the most careful preparation ends in chaos. What happens when the lights, cameras, and action collide with danger? These stories aren't urban legends. They're real, terrifying accidents that left stars bruised, broken, and sometimes scarred for life. Ready to see which big names barely made it through their own movies? Let's dive in. Brandon Lee, The Crow, 1993. Few on-set tragedies shook Hollywood harder than the accident that claimed Brandon Lee. The son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee was on the cusp of superstardom, filming what would become his breakout role in The Crow. During a scene that should have been routine, a prop malfunction turned deadly. In the confusion, Lee collapsed, and at first, everyone thought he was just acting. The crew quickly realized this was no performance. Despite rushing him to the hospital, doctors could not save him. The loss devastated not just the production, but the entire industry. Brandon Lee was only 28, with his career just beginning to blossom. The Crow was eventually completed using body doubles and early CGI, but it was released under a cloud of grief. Fans around the world mourned the eerie similarity to his father's early death, cementing the Lee family in tragic Hollywood lore. This accident forever changed how productions treat safety on set. Brandon's story is a haunting reminder that the line between make-believe and reality can sometimes vanish in an instant. Vic Morrow, Twilight Zone, the movie, 1982. When audiences heard about the accident on Twilight Zone, the movie, jaws dropped. Veteran actor Vic Morrow was filming a climactic sequence that involved explosions, chaos, and a low-flying helicopter. It was supposed to be cinematic spectacle. Instead, it turned into a disaster. Morrow and two young actors were in the middle of a dramatic scene when the helicopter lost control. In a matter of seconds, the chaos turned deadly. The incident was so shocking that it became one of the most infamous accidents in Hollywood history. The aftermath was just as dramatic. Court cases dragged on for years, with investigations into negligence and questions about safety standards for child actors. The production was permanently marked by the tragedy, and Twilight Zone, the movie carried a heavy shadow over its release. For Vic Morrow, a respected star of both film and television, it was a devastating end to a long career. The tragedy forever raised awareness about how dangerous big stunts can be when corners are cut. Isla Fisher, Now You See Me, 2013. Magic tricks look glamorous on the big screen, but Isla Fisher learned firsthand how dangerous illusions can be. In Now You See Me, Fisher played an escape artist who performs a daring water tank stunt. The twist? The stunt went horribly wrong while the cameras were rolling. Fisher was chained underwater, meant to break free for the scene. But her restraints got tangled, and she struggled to signal for help. For more than 2 terrifying minutes, she was actually trapped, fighting to stay calm. Crew members thought she was just giving an incredible performance. It wasn't until she managed to free herself that people realized how close she had come to drowning. After the ordeal, Fisher admitted the experience left her shaken, though she pushed through and completed the film. Watching the scene today is chilling, knowing how real the danger was. Her survival turned into one of Hollywood's scariest near misses. Audiences left the theater none the wiser. But behind the scenes, Isla Fisher walked away with a new understanding of just how fine the line between movie magic and disaster can be. Tom Cruise, Mission: Impossible, Fallout, 2017. Tom Cruise has built his career on performing his own stunts, but sometimes even the most fearless stars pay a heavy price. During the filming of Mission: Impossible Fallout, Cruise attempted a daring rooftop leap between 2 buildings. He made the jump, but not the landing. Cruise's foot slammed into the side of the building, snapping his ankle on impact. The actor, known for powering through pain, actually pulled himself up and finished the shot before collapsing. Production had no choice but to shut down for weeks while crews recovered. The delay cost millions, but it also showed just how dedicated the actor was to delivering the kind of realism fans expect. The footage of the stunt, complete with Cruise's grimace of pain, was used in the final cut. That means every audience member saw the exact moment the accident happened. It's both jaw-dropping and a little uncomfortable to watch. Cruise later joked about it in interviews, but the injury was no laughing matter. It was a reminder that even the most seasoned stunt daredevil can't outrun the laws of physics. Harrison Ford, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 2014. Han Solo has survived countless scrapes on screen, but Harrison Ford nearly didn't survive one behind the scenes. While filming Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Ford was rehearsing inside the Millennium Falcon when a malfunction caused the massive hydraulic door to slam down. The door weighed as much as a small car, and it crashed directly onto him. Ford's leg was badly broken, and production scrambled to get him medical attention. The accident forced a significant delay in shooting, throwing the tight Star Wars schedule into chaos. Disney executives were reportedly furious, while director J.J. Abrams admitted he felt sick over the near tragedy. Despite the ordeal, Ford showed his trademark grit. Within weeks, he was back on set, still limping but determined to finish the film. Audiences had no clue just how much pain their beloved Han Solo had endured during production. The accident highlighted just how risky even non-stunt work on blockbuster sets can be. When heavy machinery, massive props, and human error collide, even icons like Harrison Ford aren't invincible. Charlize Theron, Aeon Flux, 2005. Charlize Theron has played warriors, assassins, and post-apocalyptic legends, but one role almost ended her career for good. On the set of Aeon Flux, Theron attempted a backflip during an intense action scene. It was supposed to be clean and controlled. Instead, she landed on her neck, and the impact was terrifying. Production immediately halted as Theron was rushed to medical care. Doctors told her she had narrowly avoided paralysis. Her injury required her to wear a neck brace for weeks, and the production shut down for nearly 2 months. For Theron, who's known for giving her all in physically demanding roles, the accident was a wake-up call. She admitted later that the injury changed how she thought about stunt work and safety on set. Though Aeon Flux didn't become the box office hit producers hoped for, Theron's ordeal gave the film a haunting reputation. When audiences see her athletic stunts in the movie, they're watching a performer who came shockingly close to disaster. Charlize Theron's accident proved that even the strongest action stars are still human, and one miscalculation can nearly change everything. Dylan O'Brien, Maze Runner, The Death Cure, 2016. Dylan O'Brien was at the height of his young career when disaster struck. While filming Maze Runner, The Death Cure, he was performing a vehicle stunt that went off script in the worst way. O'Brien was thrown from a moving rig and struck hard, suffering serious injuries that included facial fractures and a concussion. Production was shut down indefinitely, and rumors swirled that his career might be over. Fans worried, especially when news spread that his recovery would take months. O'Brien himself later admitted the incident left him physically and emotionally shaken, unsure if he'd ever return to acting. After extensive rehab, he did come back, but with a newfound caution toward dangerous stunts. The film's release was delayed by nearly a year because of his accident, and every frame he appears in carries the weight of his struggle to heal. Dylan O'Brien's story became one of resilience, but also a stark reminder that the risks young actors take aren't always worth the cost. George Clooney, Syriana, 2005. George Clooney isn't usually thought of as an action star, but one of his most serious injuries happened in a political thriller, not an action blockbuster. While filming Syriana, Clooney performed a torture scene that involved being violently thrown around. During one of the takes, he suffered a severe spinal injury. The pain was so excruciating that Clooney later admitted he considered quitting acting altogether. He endured headaches, dizziness, and even temporary memory loss. Doctors discovered spinal fluid leaks that required multiple surgeries to repair. Clooney was bedridden for weeks, and recovery was slow. Despite the agony, Clooney refused to let the accident derail the movie. He pushed through, and the role ended up earning him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. But behind that golden statue was a star who had literally put his health on the line. Clooney has since said the injury permanently changed him and made him rethink the physical cost of filmmaking. Syriana may have brought him critical acclaim, but it also nearly cost him his future in Hollywood. Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future Part 3, 1990. Audiences adored Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, but few knew just how close he came to a fatal accident on the set of Back to the Future Part 3. In one scene, Marty is supposed to be hanged from a rope before escaping at the last second. During rehearsal, Fox stood on a box to avoid real pressure around his neck. But during one take, the timing went wrong. The box was pulled away too early, and Fox was left actually hanging. For nearly 30 seconds, Fox struggled while the crew thought he was just acting brilliantly. When they realized he was truly unconscious, panic erupted. Thankfully, the crew rushed in before it was too late. Fox later joked about the incident, but the danger was very real. The footage never made it into the final film, but the story has become part of Hollywood lore. Imagine, one of the most beloved stars of the 1980s almost lost his life while filming what was supposed to be a family adventure. Fox's ordeal remains one of the scariest behind-the-scenes near misses in movie history. Sylvester Stallone, Rocky IV, 1985. Sylvester Stallone wanted realism in his boxing scenes, and he definitely got it in Rocky IV. For a key moment between Rocky and Ivan Drago, Stallone convinced co-star Dolph Lundgren to hit him for real. The result? One punch sent Stallone to the hospital. The impact caused Stallone's heart to slam against his ribcage, leading to swelling around his chest. He was placed in intensive care for days, and doctors warned him just how dangerous the injury was. Stallone later admitted he may have taken authenticity too far, but at the time, he wanted the fight to look convincing. The accident delayed filming, but the final movie includes footage from those punishing exchanges. The realism paid off on screen. Though behind the scenes, Stallone had risked much more than a bruised ego. Fans love Rocky IV for its raw intensity, but now they know some of that rawness came from very real pain. Stallone proved his toughness, but the cost was higher than most audiences ever imagined. Kate Winslet, Titanic, 1997. Titanic was a once-in-a-lifetime film, but for Kate Winslet, it nearly became her last. During the intense flooding sequences, Winslet had to navigate freezing water while wearing a heavy costume. In one terrifying moment, her coat snagged on a metal gate, trapping her underwater. Panic set in as she struggled to free herself, and she later admitted she felt certain she was about to drown. Crew members rushed to help, but not before she swallowed a dangerous amount of water. Winslet continued filming, but the experience left her shaken. She carried bruises and lingering fear from the ordeal. Years later, she revealed that the accident changed her relationship with water scenes forever. Ironically, the near tragedy only added to the film's realism. Audiences had no idea they were watching an actress who had endured one of the most frightening moments of her career. Titanic went on to win 11 Oscars, but for Kate Winslet, the memory of gasping for air behind the scenes was far more unforgettable. Jennifer Lawrence, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, 2014. Jennifer Lawrence may have been the face of Katniss Everdeen, but filming Mockingjay proved more dangerous than the Capitol itself. During a scene involving smoke machines, a malfunction sent thick fumes straight into Lawrence's face. What was supposed to be safe movie magic left her temporarily blinded and gasping for air. The star was quickly pulled out of the set, but the panic was real. For several minutes, she couldn't see clearly, and the experience left her shaken. Production halted while she recovered, and Lawrence later described the incident as one of the scariest moments of her career. Her close call served as a reminder that even something as simple as stage smoke can turn hazardous when conditions go wrong. Audiences saw Lawrence give a powerful performance, never realizing how close she came to serious injury. Katniss may have battled fire and arrows on screen, but the real danger came from a machine meant to make the movie look epic. Jackie Chan, Armor of God, 1986. If there's one star known for taking wild risks, it's Jackie Chan. His entire career has been built on daring stunts, but Armor of God gave him the closest brush with death. While performing a simple jump onto a tree branch, the branch snapped. Chan plummeted headfirst onto rocks below. The fall fractured his skull, forcing him into emergency surgery. Doctors had to place a permanent metal plate in his head. For months, he lived with partial hearing loss and severe headaches. Most actors would have retired after such an ordeal, but not Jackie. He went back to filming, determined to finish the movie. The accident became one of the most infamous moments in action movie history. Chan later admitted he has a collection of injuries from almost every film he's made, but this one was the most serious. Watching Armor of God today, you can't help but hold your breath, knowing how close he came to not surviving one of his routine stunts. Margaret Hamilton, The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Everyone remembers the Wicked Witch of the West, but few realize the actress behind the green makeup endured one of Hollywood's earliest on-set horrors. Margaret Hamilton was performing a fiery exit scene when a pyrotechnic malfunction sent flames erupting around her. The makeup on her hands and face caught, leaving her with second-degree burns. Hamilton was rushed to the hospital, where she spent weeks recovering. Her skin was permanently scarred, and she carried the trauma with her long after production ended. What made it worse was the toxic copper-based paint used for her green makeup, which added to her discomfort. Despite the pain, Hamilton returned to finish the film, refusing to let the accident overshadow her performance. To this day, her version of the Wicked Witch is considered iconic, yet behind the unforgettable cackle and flying broomstick was an actress who literally put her skin on the line for movie magic. Daniel Day-Lewis, My Left Foot, 1989. Daniel Day-Lewis is known for his extreme method acting, but it sometimes came at a painful cost. While playing Christy Brown in My Left Foot, Day-Lewis insisted on staying in character at all times. This meant spending hours hunched in a wheelchair, refusing to move out of position, even between takes. The strain on his body was brutal. He cracked ribs from the constant contortions and suffered chronic back pain. Crew members had to carry him around the set, and Day-Lewis refused to break character, no matter the discomfort. His dedication bordered on self-destruction, but the results spoke for themselves. His performance won him an Academy Award, and critics hailed it as one of the most authentic portrayals of disability ever put on screen. Still, it's clear that Day-Lewis paid a very real physical price for his art. Sometimes the damage an actor suffers isn't from a freak stunt, but from the sheer demands of their own process. Jason Statham, The Expendables 3, 2014. Jason Statham has built his brand on playing tough guys who laugh in the face of danger. But one day, on The Expendables 3 set, he wasn't acting. Statham was behind the wheel of a 3-ton truck during a stunt rehearsal when the brakes failed. The vehicle barreled toward the edge of a dock before plunging straight into the Black Sea. Most people would panic. Statham, a former competitive diver, managed to stay calm, unbuckled himself, and swam to the surface. Crew members rushed to help, but the fact that he escaped on his own is nothing short of incredible. The truck sank to the bottom, and the production was left in shock at how close they'd come to losing one of their stars. Afterward, Statham shrugged it off in interviews, calling it just another day on the job. But everyone else knew the truth. This wasn't a stunt. It was a near disaster. Watching The Expendables 3 today, you can't help but remember that one of its biggest stars had already survived the real-life action sequence of a lifetime. Uma Thurman, Kill Bill, 2003. Working with Quentin Tarantino is famously intense, but for Uma Thurman, it became dangerous. On the set of Kill Bill, Tarantino urged her to perform a driving scene herself. Thurman was nervous about the old car, but eventually agreed. Her instincts were right. The car lost control, crashed, and Thurman was thrown into the seat with violent force. She suffered a concussion, neck injuries, and lasting pain in her knees. Even worse, she had to fight to get the footage of the crash released years later, finally showing the world just how real the accident had been. The crash became one of the most talked about behind-the-scenes moments of Tarantino's career. While Kill Bill became a cult classic, Thurman was left with permanent scars, both physical and emotional. Her story is a sobering reminder that sometimes the biggest risks actors face aren't even scripted. They come from pressure to make it look real. Meryl Streep, The River Wild, 1994. Meryl Streep isn't the kind of star you associate with dangerous stunts, yet The River Wild forced her into some seriously risky territory. The film's rafting scenes were shot on raging rivers, and Streep insisted on doing many of her own sequences. During one rapid, she was thrown from the raft and dragged underwater by the current. Crew members scrambled to pull her out, and Streep emerged shaken, bruised, and exhausted. She later joked that she yelled at the director for nearly getting her drowned for the art of cinema. But behind the humor was genuine fear. This was a close call. The accident added to the authenticity of the film, but it also reminded audiences that even dramas can hide real danger. Streep walked away with a newfound respect for stunt performers who live with that level of risk every day. For the rest of us, it's a shocking reminder that not even Hollywood's most respected actress is safe when nature takes control of the scene. Matthew Fox, Lost, 2006. When you think of dangerous accidents on TV sets, Lost might not come to mind. But Matthew Fox, who played Jack Shephard, endured one of the show's most frightening moments. During a fight scene with an extra, something went terribly wrong. The performer was supposed to use a safe prop, but a real object slipped into the mix. Fox was cut across the chest, and the injury was far from minor. Filming was halted, and he needed immediate medical care. The incident left the production shaken, especially since Lost was already famous for its demanding stunts and outdoor shoots. Fox recovered and continued on, but the accident became part of the show's intense behind-the-scenes legacy. It's easy to forget that a hit series like Lost, with its constant fights, crashes, and survival drama, meant actors were putting themselves on the line week after week. For Matthew Fox, the line between fiction and reality blurred in a way he'll never forget. Viggo Mortensen, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, 2002. When Aragorn kicks a helmet in The Two Towers, it looks like nothing more than a frustrated character moment. But what fans didn't know was that Viggo Mortensen actually broke 2 toes in that very take. The scream of pain you hear on screen isn't acting. It's Mortensen genuinely reacting to the injury. Director Peter Jackson loved the rawness of the moment and kept it in the final cut. Mortensen, meanwhile, finished the day limping, but determined to carry on. He was no stranger to on-set mishaps during the trilogy. He even chipped a tooth in another scene and asked for it to be superglued back so he could keep filming. Mortensen's dedication to staying in character became legendary, but it also highlighted how much these actors sacrificed to make Middle-earth feel real. The helmet kick has since become one of the most famous "you won't believe this" trivia pieces in movie history. But behind the fun fact is a very real reminder. Sometimes the most iconic shots come at a painful price. Jennifer Connelly, The Rocketeer, 1991. Jennifer Connelly was still early in her Hollywood career when she faced one of her scariest moments. On the set of The Rocketeer, she was filming a sequence that involved running through a chaotic environment filled with staged explosions and stunt debris. In the middle of the take, she was accidentally struck by a falling rigging piece and knocked unconscious. The crew rushed to her side, fearing the worst. Connelly later recalled waking up dazed and with a pounding headache, realizing how close she'd come to a far more serious injury. Despite the scare, she returned to filming after recovering, determined not to let the accident overshadow her work. The incident never made headlines in the way bigger Hollywood accidents did, but it left Connelly with a lasting reminder of just how unpredictable a set can be. The Rocketeer might be remembered today as a charming retro adventure, but behind its glossy finish lies a chilling moment when its leading lady could have been lost. For Connelly, it was proof that even family films sometimes carry very real danger. Christian Bale, Rescue Dawn, 2006. Christian Bale is famous for throwing himself into roles, but Rescue Dawn tested his limits in more ways than one. Filming in the jungles of Thailand, Bale endured extreme conditions. During one scene, he was dragged by a rope in the dirt, and the stunt went wrong. Bale was nearly injured far worse when the rope pulled tighter than expected, leaving him gasping and bruised. Adding to the chaos, Bale had already lost an alarming amount of weight for the role, leaving his body fragile and vulnerable. At one point, he narrowly escaped serious burns when a campfire stunt flared out of control. Despite the risks, Bale kept pushing forward, committed to portraying pilot Dieter Dengler's harrowing survival story. The film itself became a testament to his endurance, but the behind-the-scenes reality was even more brutal than the on-screen drama. Bale's dedication bordered on reckless, and while it earned him critical acclaim, it also showed how thin the line can be between method acting and endangering yourself. Bruce Willis, Die Hard, 1988. When you think of action stars pushing their limits, Bruce Willis in Die Hard is the gold standard. But what fans didn't know is that the film's explosive stunts left Willis with permanent consequences. During a gunfire-heavy scene in the Nakatomi building, the sound levels were far higher than expected. Willis ended up with partial hearing loss in one ear, a condition he's carried for the rest of his life. To make matters worse, the intense pyrotechnics and glass stunts left him battered with cuts and bruises throughout the shoot. The gritty realism that made Die Hard such a classic came at Willis's very real expense. He later admitted that every time he revisits the movie, he's reminded of just how much physical pain went into making it. Die Hard turned Bruce Willis into a global superstar, but it also changed him forever. That iconic smirk and cocky one-liner delivery were born out of a grueling shoot, where he literally left part of himself behind. It's one of the clearest cases where movie magic was built on genuine injury. Linda Hamilton, Terminator 2. Judgment Day, 1991. Linda Hamilton gave one of the most intense action performances of the early 90s, but it came with a cost. On the set of Terminator 2, a scene involving a shotgun blast went horribly wrong. Despite safety protocols, the noise levels were so extreme that Hamilton suffered permanent hearing loss in one ear. The accident was devastating because Hamilton had spent months training physically to embody the hardened, battle-ready Sarah Connor. She was in peak condition, yet it was a simple technical failure that caused the most lasting damage. Hamilton powered through the rest of the production, and her performance became iconic. But she later admitted the ringing in her ear never fully went away. Fans remember Terminator 2 as one of the greatest action films ever made. For Hamilton, it's also a constant reminder that one moment of poor planning on set can leave scars that last a lifetime. Jamie Alexander, Thor, The Dark World, 2013. Marvel movies may look like safe blockbuster fun, But Jamie Alexander's accident on Thor, The Dark World, proved otherwise. During filming in London, Alexander slipped on a wet surface and fell hard. The result was a litany of injuries: a herniated disc, torn shoulder, and chipped vertebrae. She was hospitalized and sidelined for weeks. The severity of her injuries shocked fans when the news came out. Alexander admitted she could barely move without pain, and the experience forced her to step back from strenuous work for a while. Despite this, she returned to the Marvel Universe later, determined not to let the accident define her career. Her story highlights just how dangerous even seemingly simple movements on big-budget sets can be. Alexander wasn't dangling from wires or battling CGI monsters. She just slipped at the wrong time, in the wrong place. It's a sobering reminder that sometimes the scariest accidents aren't the big fiery stunts, but the everyday moments gone wrong. And there you have it. 25 stars who went to work on a film set and ended up battling real-life danger. From broken bones to near drownings, these stories prove that behind every blockbuster is a gamble few of us would ever take. Hollywood may glamorize the final product, but the price these actors paid is as real as it gets. Which of these accidents shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping Hollywood stories. After all, you never know what risks are lurking behind the camera